So before getting into the webinar, I'd like to mention a couple of disclaimers or disclosures here that what I'm sharing here with you is just for informational and educational purposes and does not constitute any investment advice. And I'm not selling any securities to anyone here. And whatever I share is not considered professional advice. When it comes to making any investment decisions, please consult with your CPA and attorneys for any, again, tax or legal advices and or financial advices here. Investments are risky, and it's important that you, as the decision maker, understand all the risk and also understand that the numbers that I am using as examples here, they're examples. There are not any earning guarantees, and I may make some, forward-looking statements here that again, they're just for educational and informational purposes. I'm not affiliated with any group, and any views that expressed here, they belong to me. And please do your own due diligences on any investment. And finally, by attending this webinar, you're consenting to be recorded, and I'm going to use that information maybe in parts of my publications or social media and audio and video format. With that, here are the topics that I'm going to cover today. A little bit of intro about me, why this webinar and why now, and talk the importance of mindset and goal setting before getting into the real estate. And in real estate, I'll be covering different types of real estate and why multifamily is my favorite investment vehicle, different ways to invest in apartments, how to analyze them, and how I built a $15 million asset under management portfolio in, like 4 years, 4.5 years on the path forward here. So, Francis Fruit, I grew up in Canada, went to school, got a couple of degrees. I probably could have become a medical doctor based on the number of years of schooling. But anyway, received 2 bachelors in civil engineering and geophysics and a master's degree in geophysics. And then I went to work in earthquake seismology, mining, and the oil and gas industry. And about 17 years ago, got hired by Baker Hughes. They moved me from Calgary to Houston, and I started working in the U.S. Last company I worked for was Marathon Oil, which was sold to ConocoPhillips, by the way, last November. I was let go from that company in the beginning of the COVID-19 when the oil price turned negative, $55 a barrel. So why did I decide to make this webinar? Well, first of all, it's the beginning of the year. We talk about goal settings, and I'm really hoping that with this webinar, I can inspire you to ask better questions. Think about where you are in life and where you want to be by the end of the year, and in the near term and maybe long term. Set appropriate goals, have a clear vision, set proper goals, and make 2025 your best year ever. And the second reason is that you might have heard that there is a 2.3 to $3 trillion of commercial debt maturing between now and 2028. And the opportunity is that a lot of these commercial real estate debt, they were signed with an interest rate between 3 and 4%. Now, in this current regime, current market, they have to be refinanced at a higher rate, somewhere between maybe 6 and 7%. And this means that most of these properties, they're going to lose a lot of value, and a lot of these borrowers will lose, a lot of money. And that becomes the opportunity for investors like us, to take advantage and kind of be able to jump on these opportunities, as they come. And yes, so this means that I see the light at the end of the tunnel. This train is coming. So mindset, the importance of mindset. When I was in grad school, about to finish my master's degree, everybody was congratulating me and say, hey, you're gonna land a job with 6 figure. And I thought, well, this is great. That was a big accomplishment. And I did start a job at actually $105,000 a year, about maybe, I don't know, like 17, 18, 20 years ago. Well, longer than that. Anyway, uh, but when I started, after I received my first paycheck, I realized that, well, wait a minute, no, this is not six figure, this is five figure because I was paying probably like 30, 35% income tax on that paycheck. The other point was that I never thought where I want to land, on the six-figure salary spectrum. It's a wide spectrum. Six-figure goes from $100,000 to probably 999,999, right? I mean, that's not probably, definitely 99, like short of $1 million, and didn't think about the career path that I was taking, where I was going to be after 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years of spending time, in that industry. Um, so in my career, 2015, I was working for a company in Houston, public company, and because of the cyclical nature of the oil and gas, the company decided to do a massive layoff. In fact, 60% of the work staff got laid off in one night. And it was in September. I remember we went down from 1,500 employees to almost like 500. And it was painful. I was put on a deferred layoff list. So even though the layoff happened in September, my last day in the company was in the December that year. Although I survived that layoff and I got extended six times, to work, on a month-to-month basis. It was interesting to me that right after the layoff and after the dust settled, the CEO received a big bonus package from the shareholders, major shareholders. And I thought to myself that, okay, so how come 60% of the staff is let go, but then the CEO receives a bonus and the company continues working, as if nothing had happened? So I started my this personal development journey, by asking questions that, okay, so how are these decisions made? How the system is put together, and what can I do? Because I kind of felt that I was commoditized, and I was. Then in 2019, working for another oil company, a colleague of mine, more senior, opened up to me and kind of shared with me that he had been able to replace 80% of his ordinary income through investing in 4,000 apartment units across the United States. I said, wow, that was the aha moment for me. I said, how did he do that? And we had a conversation, and that kind of was the beginning of my apartment investment journey. After I started digging and asking questions, I realized that I kind of was trapped. I was trapped in the the conformity trap. This was basically the conformity trap, limiting thoughts and belief that was given to me by my family, by my relatives, later school, society, teachers, etc., etc. Because I'd been raised in a middle class family. We never talked about money. We never talked about investment. Money and discussion about money was not a comfortable topic. And I know that my family, they were risk averse. They always talked about, hey, business and business people are risky. And the better way, safer way, more secure way is to find a job. Go to school, get good grades, land a good job, with good benefits like pension, now 401k, and so on and so forth. Like paid vacation. And basically, they taught me to seek financial security through education and finding a job. Um, and I know that probably for quite a while we had the lack mentality instead of abundance. I heard many times that from my dad that say, hey, no, we can't afford this, no, we can't afford having that, or like, do you think that I have like a money printing company, or comments like that. And we always resisted change, even though we're living in a very dynamic world. Well, we resisted change. So I kind of ended up in a system that I started selling my time, clocking in, clocking out, came up with or incurred some student debt. And eventually, when I was let's go, I realized that I've been commoditized. So, a degree is commodity. Yes, there are lots of skills that we develop at school and university. I'm not suggesting that it's not a good idea to go to school, but my suggestion is to be financially educated. Like financial literacy is something that they're not taught in grade school or in colleges or in high school. So this whole system is the conformity trap. That's what I mean by. Throughout my journey, I read many books. In fact, I decided to read 2 books a week for like 6 to 8 months, and I did. I started with some of the classics. I would say like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. The Richest Man in Babylon. These are some of the financial literacy and personal development classic books. Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, Tony Robbins. Books like The Secrets of the Money, Thinking in Systems, and like Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and so on and so forth. And also took a course by John and Missy Butcher, the creators of the Life book, that they talk about the 12 dimensions of life, which like finance and career, there are only 2 of them. So realized quickly that mindset and philosophy of life is everything. Basically, with our philosophy of life, we determine how our life is going to work out for us, and we have 2 options. Simply put, either we can design our own life, on our own terms, and work hard for it, and try to achieve it by being, smart about our decisions. And once we know where we want to go, and or follow someone else's path and someone else's plan. And if in the latter case, definitely the people who have planned their own life, they're not going to think about us, right? So the fundamental questions that I came across is, and the mindset was that, hey, who I am really, where I am, and who I want to become, and what I want to be. So if I wanted to become a millionaire, what needs to happen or shift in me in order for me to be able to think like a millionaire? The idea of the mentality of abundance versus lack. And being having gratitude and being grateful for what we had in life, and know that we're living in a very abundant universe. Learning to design the life, it's an ongoing process. It never stops. And of course, part of it is to invest in the personal development. As Jim Rohn's mentor Errol Shove said to him, he said, "No, Mr. Rohn, become a millionaire not for the $1,000,000, but for what it will make of you to achieve it." And this is very powerful. In terms of the mindset and freedom, financial, time, location freedom, it's not really money that we want. It's really freedom that we want. We all want freedom, but we may not realize that. We may think that this is just like money. But like the pandemic really showed us that, hey, how freedom of location, is important to us, and people started moving around, migrating, even like from country to other country, and working, remotely. But in terms of the financial literacy and financial freedom that we are talking about, one of the powerful kind of figures is the cash flow quadrant from Rich Dad Poor Dad, where he talks about there are multiple ways to earn an income or to have an income. One is earn income as an employee on the top left. That you sell your time basically, and you have a job, and you pay the highest taxes, in this country for it. The second group are self-employed people that, they own a job basically, but they still need to spend their time to make money. A doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, they cannot make money without investing. Of course, they cannot make money, with their degree and their title without really working. On the other hand, business owners, there are people who have figured out to create a system or own a system that would allow them to employ people that are smarter than them, and put them to work basically, and have them kind of help them reach their goals, the business goals. And the last group are investors. After business, when you make a lot of money, then you want to invest the money. Basically, you want to have your money work for you when you're sleeping, and that's the category that's is the optimal way to make money. And by the way, passive income or investment income, you pay the least taxes on it, this current regime. And the whole idea to reach financial freedom or time and location freedom is to be able to go from the left-hand side or left quadrants to the right quadrants. And in this context, it's important to understand that even though we think that our hourly wage or salary is whatever, we're not paying for time. We're really getting paid for the value that we bring to the marketplace, and we get paid for that value. Not really the time. And the more value that we can create for more people, the higher the payment and the reward will be. And in that regard, if we really be able to create or invest in scalable income streams, cash flowing businesses over time, that's really the holy grail of reaching financial time and location freedom. And in order to do that, we obviously need to maintain a growth mindset by continuous learning and adapting to this ever-changing world. In terms of mindset and goal setting, definitely we need to understand, where we are, what we want, and how long will it take for us to achieve them, and how can we accelerate that, shorten that time, and how. The mindset shift, the paradigm shift is that instead of thinking in terms of security, we need to think of freedom. Even if you decide to go and work in a job, then don't look at it as a way to earn income. That's the secondary product. It has to be something that you learn, a skill set, connections that will help you to reach financial freedom later on. If we decide to think like a millionaire, then we need to educate ourselves. We need to probably find a group of people, like a group of millionaires, to be exposed to them, and learn from them. And that's why Jim Brown said in one of his talks that we are the average of 5 people that we spend the most time with. So, we need to choose wisely. So that community matters a lot. We need to understand the rules of investment. That hey, how does a millionaire think about investment? Never lose money. They invest in cash flowing business that appreciate quickly over time, and we can't really afford getting rich slow. We have to get rich fast. And the other mindset shift is about risk. Because a lot of people, they have this cliche that businesses is risky, investments are risky, stock is risky, real estate is risky, everything is risky, driving is risky, life is risky, we're not going to get a life out of it, right? But it's not really the investment that is risky, it's the investor that is risky. The investor could be the asset or the liability. And that's the key, that investor that does not have the enough knowledge and expertise or experience, and they don't understand the risk of the decision they're making, so they're going to make a bad decision probably. So again, it's the investor. And in order to avoid that or mitigate that or to reduce that risk, we need to educate ourselves through working with mentors, developing skills, getting educated, attending webinars and seminars, and being part of communities with, again, like-minded people who have done it. And ultimately, it's not really about how much money we're making that makes us rich. It's about how much money we can keep, and the more money we make, the harder it'll get to keep that, and that's why we need to get educated. Let's say if you have the mindset and we switch the mindset, we want to to reach financial freedom, then we want to put some smart goals, like maybe for a 1 year time frame, 3 year to 5 year to 10 year, 20 years. So we need to plan, we need to design, and part of designing is really asking good questions. What type of lifestyle do we want to have? If we have, our goal is to leave our day-to-day job and start our business venture, how much money do we need to have? Or about kids' college, or for some people maybe, hey, how much do I need to retire comfortably? So these are good questions to ask. And in order to answer these questions, we really want to have specific answers. And once we have those specific answers, we can measure, we can estimate how much it would cost to achieve those answers. And does it make sense? Let's say if I want to own a jetliner, Dreamliner in 1 year, is it achievable? Is it attainable? Or maybe it takes 20 years, from now to achieve that. Is it realistic, right? I want to own maybe a piece of land on Mars. Is it realistic? Can I do that? Maybe in the near future they start selling, these planets, but you get the idea. And it has to be time bound. So that's why it's important that we categorize our goals, to short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. And once we have those, with those specific uh, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound goals, then we can estimate how much it would cost to have those experiences today. And a simple calculation is to assume an inflation rate of 3 to 5% a year, and just like forward calculate what it would cost. Because the value of money is going down, every day. A dollar today worth more than a dollar in a year from now, and do those estimates. Here, so here's an example. The inflation. Let's say you want to have $100,000 a year, toward your goal or standard of living. How much do you need based on a 3% or 5% inflation rate in 25 years from now, by 2050? So $100,000 today is kind of equivalent of $210,000 in 2050. Excuse me. And 300 and like almost $40,000 with a 5% inflation rate per year in 2050. So you get the idea that how much money you're going to need. So based on that, you can fine tune your assumptions. And let's say that again with $100,000 passive income, this is what we want to reach. So how can we reach that? So if you had $2 million cash today and you had put it in the bank in a CD account at 5%, there is your $100,000. Or maybe if you can invest your money at 5% annual return, or get some dividends back from somewhere, oil and gas, royalty or whatever else, you would get $100,000. You can buy a business all cash with $2 million, and if that business generates $100,000 of net operating income, like this is an example of apartment complex, then you would get your $100,000 of passive income. But maybe for some of us, if you don't have the $2 million cash, so what else we can do? I guess the most important thing is that start today, because there's no better time to start, and the highest risk is for people who don't take any risk. So start investing today with any amount of cash that you have, because you want to have that experience, you want to be exposed, and create or invest in like cash flowing assets. If you're good in writing, let's say write a book. If you sell that book, make some money, that becomes a cash flowing asset. Like real estate is one of them. Maybe there are other vehicles for other people. Some people, they love crypto, or they love stocks, or whatever that is. That vehicle does not matter. Whatever you feel comfortable and you understand it, start investing in it. The power of leverage. Don't forget the leverage. This is specific to real estate. I guess that may not apply to bonds or stock or mutual funds and things like that. So in real estate, with every $1 that you put in, you can get $3 to $4, depending on where you're investing. If it's cash flowing asset, definitely, and definitely invest in your own personal growth and education. Investment is a team sport. Remember that. You need to have a team. You can't just do it all yourself to save money or save time. Remember, you can't really get rich slow. In order to accelerate that, you need to have a team of experienced people, mentors who have practical knowledge, not just paper knowledge. And you need to be among like-minded people. Remember, you're the average of 5 people that you spend the most time